I remember my joy sitting on the sidelines as a client, a personal care company, part of a $60 billion global transnational, whose name, if I could mention, you'd recognize immediately. But this operating unit had now won accolades as their fastest growing operating unit, the fastest growing company within that organization. They had registered 30% growth, and against their toughest rival, who tended to do better than they in most markets, they had outperformed that chief rival year upon year, and they were just flooded with joy. Of course, I remember 2 years earlier sitting on a beach having key conversations with their leaders when the company seemed to be coming apart. People were burned out. There had been enormous turnover. A key leader had just been sacked, fired, and now the executive committee, the senior leadership team, was in tatters. One of the ways that we enjoy helping companies is to glimpse the potential, the talent they have, even if at that moment that talent seems to be nullifying their potential rather than fulfilling it. Though we work in a variety of ways, which you can read about in this segment, and you'll see some of the key tools we use, there are some common features to all our approaches. For example, the one we used with the company I've just mentioned. Our first step is we spend a lot of listening time to understand what's really going on. We like to let leaders teach us how they're creating the current success or plateau that they're experiencing at the moment. We become students before we become teachers. The second phase involves coming up with a game plan that is holistic to their reality, to what they're facing in the outside world, their budgets, the distances they have to travel between locations to get to each other, and anything else that may be operative. It's really important that we commit to a game plan that has mutual accountability between us and our clients. The third stage involves using some of the tools you'll read about in this section. These are not only leading edge, they create the edge in some case. Don't take my word for it, just look through, and you'll see that what makes these tools distinctive is that they turn the tumblers of the brain, of the heart, they engage the spirit in some ways, and they're done with a fair bit of whimsy, with a twinkle in the eye, because we understand that leadership is about taking work seriously, while we also learn to take ourselves a little lightly. The fourth phase of our approach involves ongoing tracking. We set up a dashboard with you, metrics that matter, based on what we agreed at the beginning were the business results we were going to help you produce. I can promise you that what you won't experience with us is either New Age waffle or arid analytics. What you'll get is something that is both about results and about the human beings who produce it. And the fifth part of our process involves evaluating where we've come and not just being satisfied with a good result, but constantly asking ourselves, what are the remaining impediments? What are the 800-pound gorillas that are still not being discussed? How can we now make a good result even better? Though metrics differ and results that are aimed for are idiosyncratic to each undertaking, there are at least three things we are always aiming for. One is clarity of focus. People have to know not only what success looks like, but how the world would look different, tangibly, viscerally, if we achieve those results. And we constantly use that as a report card for every action we encourage you to take or support you to take. The second is, we've realized that companies all over the world are looking for passionate people. We're clamoring for passion. But we've realized, as you have, I'm sure, if you think about it, that passion is natural. We're born passionate. We're passionate in almost every context, it seems, except when we're doing our work. So we help you identify and eliminate the passion killers, the things that sap passion, that leech it away, and then liberate the desire everybody has to do a great job and to have great relationships while producing those results. And the third thing almost every undertaking we get involved with has in common is mutual accountabilities. Everybody signing up for, agreeing to be held accountable for their part in an overall result. It's fascinating to me that, for example, I was called in to work with an iconic company a Global 100 company that had been floundering because their boss was a very strong presence. And when I interviewed, at his request, his team and brought him feedback, the challenge was we had to hold him accountable, which he wanted to be held accountable, for the results that he himself was pushing the team to achieve, but we had to give him feedback in a way that was constructive. And I think the ability to teach people to hold each other accountable while giving feedback that is both honest but which builds people up rather than tearing them down is critical to any transformation that will last. The two things I remember clients saying most. One is I was introduced by an area chairman who said, "You know, Omar and his team are the most ruthless optimists I've ever met." I love the combination of being ruthless as an optimist, result-based, possibility delivering. And the second client feedback that I think I was most encouraged by was when somebody said to us, "Thank you for the gift you seem to have for bringing a smile to our people's faces." That was said in Tokyo, Japan, a culture some people think of as stiff or not as responsive on a human level. That's rubbish. People are people. When we engage them, when we touch on things that matter to them and tap their own desire to be in charge of results, which is what leadership is about, the smile comes from the inside out.